Welcome to our exploration of constructive alignment, a practical framework for designing learning that actually delivers results. In this presentation, we'll look at why aligning outcomes, activities, and assessment matters, how it shifts teaching from input to measurable student achievement, and what steps educators can take to design courses that consistently support deep, meaningful learning. This section introduces the foundations of constructive alignment and the philosophy behind it. We'll unpack key principles that transform course design, showing how clear intentions and deliberate planning create coherent learning experiences, and why a focus on measurable outcomes, purposeful activities, and matching assessments is central to effective, student-centered education. Constructive alignment emerged from learning theory and centers on one core idea: align intended learning outcomes with the teaching activities and the assessments. Rather than relying on what teachers deliver in lectures, it shifts attention to what students actively do to construct knowledge, creating a coherent structure where every element supports the same learning goals and avoids mismatches. The alignment triangle diagram shows how three components overlap to produce a coherent curriculum: learning outcomes, teaching activities, and assessment tasks. Where these circles intersect, you get instructional alignment, assessment alignment, and ultimately, aligned practices that reinforce each other, creating a synergy that helps students practice, demonstrate, and internalize the exact skills you intend them to learn. Constructive alignment matters because it shifts focus from teaching input to student learning output, ensuring coherence so learners practice what they will be assessed on, and maximizing effectiveness by creating immersive, aligned activities that promote deep learning. When elements are consistent, students know what to aim for, and assessments genuinely reflect the learning achieved. Now we'll explore the core components in more detail, breaking down the essential building blocks that make constructive alignment practical. This section will help you see how outcomes, activities, and assessments interact, and offer guidance on designing each element so they reinforce one another and lead to clearer expectations and better learning outcomes. Intended learning outcomes act like a compass for your course, stating clearly what students should know, do, or value after learning. Use action verbs drawn from taxonomies to describe observable behaviors, cover knowledge, skills, and attitudes where relevant, and make outcomes measurable and specific so assessments can directly test the intended capabilities rather than vague impressions of understanding. Teaching and learning activities are the bridge between outcomes and assessment, and should be designed purposefully to prepare students for what will be measured. Move beyond passive lectures toward interactive, hands-on experiences where learners practice targeted skills, such as discussions, labs, case analyses, simulations, and collaborative projects that mirror the abilities described in your outcomes. Assessment tasks should measure what matters by providing observable evidence that students have achieved the intended outcomes. Design authentic tasks that mirror real-world applications and use criterion-referenced standards so each student is assessed against specific outcome criteria. Crucially, if an outcome asks students to analyze, the assessment must require analysis, not mere recall. This section highlights constructive alignment in action with real-world examples to show how theory becomes transformative practice. Seeing aligned course designs in different disciplines helps illustrate practical choices educators make to ensure outcomes, activities, and assessments consistently reinforce one another, enabling students to build deep, transferable mastery rather than surface-level knowledge. In this history course example, the intended outcome asks students to analyze and interpret gendered language in historical sources. Teaching focuses on scaffolded source analysis and guided document interpretation, so students practice those exact skills, and assessment takes the form of a major critical essay that directly measures their analytical ability, demonstrating tight alignment across the course. The aerospace engineering example shows a technical application of alignment. Students apply air traffic management theory to real scenarios, learn through hands-on simulation labs, and collaborative problem solving, and are assessed with team laboratory reports demonstrating modeling and simulation. This approach links theoretical knowledge to practical mastery through realistic, discipline-specific assessments. Comparing traditional and constructive approaches highlights the change. Traditional models often rely on lecture-focused delivery, disconnected assessments, and vague outcomes, while constructive alignment emphasizes activity-based learning, integrated assessments, specific outcomes, and transparent expectations. That shift fosters clearer purpose for students, reduces guessing about what matters, and encourages deeper, more durable learning. Constructive alignment brings clear benefits like improved engagement, clearer expectations, and better learning outcomes. But it also presents challenges, such as the upfront design effort, the need for institutional support, and a cultural shift away from content coverage. Remember that alignment is adaptable, not prescriptive, and with thoughtful planning, it supports creativity within a consistent framework for quality learning. To embrace constructive alignment, start by defining specific, measurable learning outcomes and use them as your North Star. Deliberately design teaching activities and assessments that map to those outcomes. Foster active engagement through meaningful practice, and aim for real results in student success and lasting learning. When outcomes, teaching, and assessment work together, improved learning becomes inevitable.